Hello and welcome into Pat's Latest. I'm your host, Mike Gambardella, and we are celebrating a free agent frenzy here the day after the start of the new league year in the NFL. Free agency is officially underway, and the Patriots break the bank on day one. We had projected potentially 4 to 5 signings. They went well over that and actually bring in a few official starters for this Patriots team that is reloading under head coach Mike Vrabel as they look to get Drake May into the playoffs potentially in just his second season. We start with that free agent frenzy and the impact players that Elliott Wolf and Mike Vrabel really made it a priority to go out and get. Headlined, of course, after the initial word that Harold Landry, who Mike Vrabel had in Tennessee, the edge defender and outside linebacker there, the initial signing. But the big one on Monday was the addition of Milton Williams, the Philadelphia Eagles defensive tackle that sometimes flew under the radar playing next to Jalen Carter, but perhaps just as disruptive and a game wrecker. And that's exactly what Mike Vrabel was looking for. The Patriots shelled out $26 million per season to make sure that they got Milton. There was actually a little bit of drama because it was announced earlier in the day that the Carolina Panthers actually were ready to sign him. And at the last minute, it came across that the deal fell apart and Milton was actually making his way over to the Patriots. So the exact splash signing that they were looking for. And this actually came after it was announced that the Patriots added to their defensive backfield and found a fantastic partner for Christian Gonzalez on the back end of that defense and bringing over Carlton Davis, playing previously with the Lions and actually won the Super Bowl with the Patriots, playing with Tom Brady. But a perfect setup duo for the defensive backfield for Mike Vrabel and really kind of sets the tone across the board. And none more evident than the final signing, at least as a starter. So that makes 4 starters on the defensive side as Robert Spillane, the middle linebacker from the Las Vegas Raiders, who was absolutely a thumper, a guy that brings heart, a guy that sets the tone and a culture builder. We continue to say that here at Pat's Latest, but it really is true. This is what Mike Vrabel is looking for. And very evident by these 4 signings that immediately you get 4 guys that are going to start on the defensive side of the ball and set the tone. Now, there's 2 parts to this, right? It's that it's not exactly what you were thinking because it's not left tackle and it's not wide receiver and it's nothing on the offensive side that we'll touch on quite yet. But this is 4 new starters on the defensive side that 2 years ago actually played extremely well, had the step back last year, now a chance to really turn things around entirely. On the offensive side of the ball, they did get a starter on the offensive line, and that is right tackle Morgan Moses. Was dominating at times last year for the New York Jets and will immediately step in at that starting right tackle and allows a right side of that line with Michael Onwenu there as well, kicking into guard, actually builds one of the top duos in the league on the right side. Now, hopefully, David Andrews can get back to health at the center position as well, but that does leave open the left side of that line that the Patriots will need to address. Additionally, the Patriots went out and did get a wide receiver, perhaps not one that is that true wide receiver 1 caliber, but again, another culture builder in Mac Hollins. And anyone who is not familiar with Mac Hollins, please, after you finish this episode, go Google Mac Hollins and feet. I know it sounds funny, but go ahead and do it. This is a guy that refuses to wear shoes just because. He's seen walking around at Super Bowl media week without shoes on, showing up to the stadium dressed as a construction worker, dressed up as Doc Brown. This is a character, but in the best sense possible because he's a genuine individual. One I even had the pleasure of meeting at Super Bowl media week 2 years ago, and a guy that really just wants to see the best for his team, for himself and his family, and an absolute great get for that wide receiver core. The question now is you have 5 to 6 guys that are all kind of in the same realm. Now, Mac Hollins has that experience factor that outside of Kendrick Bourne and who has fought a lot of injuries, hadn't been there. So a good addition there, but perhaps not saying, hey, this is a true number 1 or 2 wide receiver. Finally, the Patriots did add a backup quarterback in the Pastronaut, Joshua Dobbs. Yes, he is a legitimate rocket scientist, nicknamed the Pastronaut, as he could have been an astronaut should he not have played in the NFL as a quarterback, but really solidifies the quarterback room, knowing that you have Drake May and Joe Milton there. And we had talked about previously what was going to be the best fit for that. And you needed someone who has experience in the league, with Josh Dobbs absolutely has, and someone who is actually a bit of a dual threat quarterback, which Josh Dobbs is as well. So someone who can help bring 2 young guys along, learn a playbook quickly, and help teach that to the younger guys. So we talked about Matt Collins, but really, what is next for the Patriots at wide receiver, and who is going to be that number 1 option? The big news coming out after the Rams signed Davante Adams is that Cooper Kupp continues to be expendable. They've already said that they will trade him in this offseason. But the big piece now is that if there is no trade partner for the Rams, they are prepared to cut Cooper Kupp. So now if the Patriots decide to play the long game, and again, this runs the risk of not getting someone at the level of Cooper Kupp and not having that wide receiver 1 or 2 option. If you want to run that chance, now you have the chance to not give up draft assets and sign somebody potentially even at a discounted rate. You're not worried about picking up his contract either. This would be the ideal scenario. It is not without its risk, because someone could come in and trade for him right away, and he falls back to free agency. So now you will be competing with a ton of other teams that are contenders already, were in the playoffs last year or just missed, and see a path to the Super Bowl. Again, the Patriots, I will not say have a path to the Super Bowl. I think the Patriots, even after a 4-13 season and 2 seasons back to back, drafting in the top 4, have a path to the playoffs if they continue along this path that they're already on. The people that they signed on Monday set the foundation for what Mike Vrabel wants to build. They need to continue to do that on offense. They need to continue to do that with the wide receiver position, and Cooper Kupp could be the guy to get that done very, very quickly. Additionally, we mentioned Joe Milton in that quarterback room, and the Patriots know that they have something special. We saw that in week 18 against the Bills. We know that he has a skill set very similar to former number 4 overall draft pick Anthony Richardson. The size, the speed, the dynamism. He even showed perhaps even a better arm and decision-making capabilities than we have seen from Anthony Richardson in the league thus far. Again, Richardson only playing a handful of games in high school and in college at Florida, but Joe Milton as well, now acquitting himself, showing people that perhaps he should have been much higher than a 6th-round draft pick. But the Patriots also, now it's being reported by Jordan Schultz, that they know that they have something here in Milton, but they also do not want to stunt his growth. So they would be open to a move for Joe Milton. Now, again, that would have to line up. The Patriots would have to be okay with what they're getting in return for potentially a starting quarterback in this league, and we know how hard they are to come by. But because they have such high regard for Milton, they also do not want to stunt his growth. So Josh Dobbs really does come in as potentially the backup quarterback and would push Milton again to a 3rd string again for a 2nd straight season. Not necessarily a bad thing, but if the Patriots decide if it's a 3rd-round pick or 4th-round pick that is worth the guy that they only invested a 6th-rounder a year ago, to see that ROI quickly, Elliott Wolf and Mike Vrabel can make that decision if it puts Milton in a position to succeed. They're not going to trade him to be, a 3rd stringer on another team or a 2nd stringer behind another established quarterback. But if there is a scenario where, I'm spitballing here, but if it's the Tennessee Titans or the Cleveland Browns that need a quarterback, if it's the, Las Vegas Raiders, yes, they just traded for Geno Smith, but you could see in the next 2 to 3, 4, 5 years max that there would be an opening that Geno Smith decides to retire, or if he ends up getting injured or taking a step back because he is in his 30s, that opens things up more than it does playing behind someone like Drake May. So the Patriots will be open to the situations that present themselves for Joe Milton, but because of his talent, they will not be looking to immediately make a move to take him off the roster. Finally, we end up saying that, well, I should say I came into this saying the Patriots needed to sign 8 starters in this go-around. They've already gotten 5 through the first day of free agency. There is still 3 big concerns left. And again, with Mike Vrabel and Elliott Wolf saying, hey, we want to secure those roster and be set with where we're at through free agency so you can take the best available players in the draft and you do not have to select from a position of need. That means the Patriots must sign a left tackle, a left guard, and a wide receiver. And it's got to be a wide receiver 1 on top of it, because if not, you're asking a lot of guys, and they've already said they asked too much of Jalen Polk as a rookie last year. You asked too much of Kendrick Bourne coming back from injury. You asked too much of Pop Douglas being a second-year player and a lower draft pick. There are a lot of expectations and things put on that team and on that wide receiver position. So Patriots will be involved in free agency today again with the offensive line and a wide receiver, but we'll see where they end up pivoting from there. That'll do it for us on this episode. Make sure you get in the comments and let us know who you thought were the good picks and who the Patriots, again, should be after. Make sure you give us a like and subscribe for the channel and go back and check out our previous episodes. Fight on, Foxborough.